Convergence, the Aquarian great mother of the waters, and Kephius, the Ethiopian king. Thank you very much.
Hello, Brother Finch, and I'm really happy I got to listen to your talk.
Thank you.
One question. One of the brothers that was here who gave a talk called Ancient Future, he said that coming up in about 2012, there would be, because of the planet's change, that people would change genetically, on a genetic level.
That's hard for me to quite understand exactly. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's a reflection of the Mayan calendar. The Mayan calendar they had world ages also, and the Mayan world age ends 2012. And yes, it is supposed to be the onset of tremendous changes, mostly changes that will break things down. But I really can't respond to genetic changes because I'm not sure exactly, I don't understand the mechanism of that, how or why that would happen. But yes, will there be changes, dramatic, drastic changes? The answer to that is undoubtedly. Beginning then and continuing for the rest of the century.
Please, Dr. Finch, enjoyed it. Enjoy your books. Since I only have one question, I guess I have to choose from the ones that I wrote down. But how did the ancients apply in their everyday lives the understandings of the energies that the universe revealed in the stars and the celestial bodies, since you said that they were able to use that kind of like as a book and read it? How did they apply it in their everyday lives, and how could we recapture that and apply that in our everyday lives to basically live what they live and combat these changes that are occurring?
The answer to that is there's no aspect of their life where that knowledge was not applied. It was applied in their government, and also what they used as a framework for that knowledge and the practical application of that knowledge was the idea of Ma'at, the idea of universal balance and harmony. Okay, their government, their system of government, their religion, the religious hierarchy, the way their society was organized, the way they built their temples and constructed their temples, and the orientations of their temples, the stars and stars. Every temple in ancient Egypt and Nubia was oriented to a major star grouping. The smallest detail of their lives was in some way informed by this knowledge. And you see it in their hieroglyphics, you see it in their art, you see it in their literature, particularly the Book of the Coming Force by Day, you see it in the pyramid text, you see it in everything that when I first went to Kemet, or Egypt, and I started seeing all these monuments, these fantastic monuments, a thought hit me that even today was just a little daunting. I said, these people created their civilization as if they were reading the mind of God. Now, so what I'm saying is that it flowed down through their entire, it was a civilization that was basically run by adepts. And those adepts made sure that all of these energies pervaded even the most minutest details of social and collective life. Now, the only way that I know how to get back to it, when Africans, there's a way in which at a certain point Africans began to do what? Forsaking what was theirs. And that includes the powers and spirits to which they belong. Everyone belongs to one, Okay? And the only way to access those energies is through those established, those powers, what you call them, netters, or rishas, rabs, voodoo, nomo. They haven't gone anywhere. They have not disappeared. And they're not figments of the imagination. They're there to do what they have always done, and that is help human beings order their lives in such a way that we can get to the point where we are to continue our definitive journey. Because Earth is just a way station where we sort of got sidetracked on a definitive journey. And that is what the powers are there to do. That's why they have begun to reclaim their own. So just as the ancient Egyptians ordered through their connection with the netters, they ordered their lives with that divine energy. It seems like it's complicated, but it's actually very simple. And that is a surrender to the African powers from which we came.
Thank you.
I was wondering, did you have any points of departure with Gerald Massey? A group of us are reading Egypt, Light of the World, and I wanted to get your take on cannibalism, because according to him, if I'm reading it correctly, he says that we were cannibalistic, we were the seed people, and that the Christian Eucharist that we practice today came from a practice of Africans eating the mother.
Okay. What that is, now what he is trying to say is that there was a time early in human history, very early in human history, maybe even a time before we had evolved to the point of even being human beings, where everything was tied to the blood of the mother. Your whole reason for living, the whole reason for existence was tied to the blood of the mother. Okay? And so that is what gave life to human society and human-like society and human connection, including religion. And what he's saying, that in order to maintain the life of the community, if the mother's blood was sacred, then it could not be lost. It could not be lost. It could not be buried. It had to be maintained within the community. And what he is saying, there came a time when the mother died, that in order not to allow her body and her blood to disappear, and therefore the life force of the community itself to disappear, since it came that it had to be taken back into the community. And that's what he said. That was the original Eucharist. Now, we weren't there. So much of what we have to understand about what happened in the very early, even perhaps pre-human phases, are inferred. But the other point that he's making is that there is no ritual, there is no symbol, there is no custom that comes out of thin air, comes out of something that actually really happened. And over time, as human beings developed, as human beings first appeared on this planet about 300,000 years ago, and as their consciousness developed, then these early practices would have been eventually sublimated and refined. But he says they would have reflected something that at a very early stage of human development, human conscious development, would have been an actual reality, and that nothing comes out of no human practice or custom or symbol or rite or ritual comes out of anything, is not created out of nothing. It comes out of something that was really happening. You can either agree with it or disagree with it, but that is his explanation. Gerald Massey, yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Finch. I so much enjoy this path that you have led us on a few years ago, that is getting us in a different place that is very, very much connected to the scholarship. And I'm very, very, very grateful to see that happening myself, and certainly in many others. What I want to know is, you have given us this wonderful, comprehensive guidance and talk today, and connects all the convergence. And I do see a convergence. I see a convergence in terms of what people are doing individually to promote this and to develop this. So there's an implication that we can go back or be guided back to some of the things that we used to have and we seem to have lost forever. I remember one lecture you said that what we have lost is so great and so profound, we could never achieve it. But there seems to be a lot of attempt, a lot of work in that effort. Certainly not in the way that you mentioned that, but there is an awakening that this is something that we should pursue and hunt down. Mm-hmm. Would you?
Yes. If I said that all the vastness of what was lost could not be retrieved, then I misspoke. Nothing ever experienced by human beings is ever totally lost. It was always possible to recover everything that has ever happened or been done or created. Now, the thing is, it's not a matter of merely going back to the past. We're not talking about recreating a new Egypt. We're not talking about building pyramids as a way just to be doing it just to show that we can. As Sheikh on the Jump says, you go back into the essential realities and truth of the past, the wisdom of the past, and bring it forward. Why? Because Solomon says there's nothing new under the sun. There's no new thought. There's not really any new idea. There are only ideas that are rediscovered, lost ideas and lost truths that are rediscovered, and form the basis for the next iteration, for the next cycle, for the next phase of evolution. And that is the reason why we go and plumb the past. That is the reason why we go back and search the past for those formative truths, that formative wisdom that allows us to reconstruct the present and the future. And in fact, you can't not do that. Unless you do that, you can't possibly have any basis for constructing the future. But it doesn't necessarily mean slavishly creating a copy of the past. That isn't what it is. But at the same time, the lessons and the learning and the teaching and the truth and, yes, the wisdom of the past can indeed be recovered, reclaimed, and used as a basis for constructing both the present and the future. So, like I said, nothing ever experienced by human beings is ever totally lost or unrecoverable. It can all be reclaimed.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we want to thank Brother Charles Finch again for his presentation. Thank you for being here.